Happy Independence Day. You will soon be eating genetically modified food within 7 months in Canada and will have zero idea you're consuming it. Plus, beef prices in Canada are getting so out of hand. I just went to Costco and saw something. I took a picture of it for all of you. We also have the EV mandates. Are they going to hold up? Because the CEOs of the auto industry went and met with Mark Carney and they said, I'm sorry, Mark Carney, it's not happening. Plus, we're going to take a look at the Toronto real estate market. It is getting ugly and there are zero signs of it turning around. Mark Carney promised Canadians that we're going to have a trade deal with the United States by July 21st. Otherwise, he's going to issue some crippling retaliatory tariffs against the United States. But there's a problem. He forgot that Canadian economy represents 1/10 of the size of the United States. So the only country that's going to get crushed is us. Alberta independence just became real today, ironically on Independence Day. Donald Trump just signed the big, beautiful bill into law, a promise that he made on July 4th. Let's get into the show. Let's go. We're going to start this show with wishing all of our American friends and family a happy 4th of July. We don't believe the mainstream media consistently bombarding us forever. Ever since Mark Carney showed up in the picture, it's crisis this, crisis that. It's all Donald Trump's fault. But us Canadians, we see right through it. We love our American friends, and we're not buying the mainstream media agenda. Get this. For the last 10 years, the Liberals have done everything to destroy our economy and the way of life in Canada. They needed a scapegoat, and it was so easy when Donald Trump showed up to the picture to blame him for our disastrous decision-making. Yeah, it has nothing to do with you guys. It has everything to do with our own Liberal government. I guarantee you by the end of the summer, there's going to be a trade deal, and it's going to be an amazing trade deal for both countries. We're both going to benefit. The narrative is going to end before the end of the summer, and the U.S. will be our best friend again. Yeah, I guarantee it. You could save and bookmark this video and send it back to me if I'm wrong. It is official. Donald Trump has signed the one beautiful bill on 4th of July as
President, this is the gavel we use to enact the big, beautiful bill, and I want you to have that for your
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Are we ready? Good. Have a good time.
I'm not going to go over the big, beautiful bill. I'm sure there's other creators that will, but it is official. Meat has become so expensive in Canada. This is what they're doing with their packaging. I went to Costco today and they're having packages that have spaces in it. They're not even filling it up anymore. This package costs $55. If you wanted all 4 pieces of steak, it would have been $100 for 4 steaks. Here's another package. 2 steaks. $55. And look, this is what it looks like. This is for real. This is what's happening in Canada because the price of meat is so expensive. They have to lower the price. What do? They put 2 steaks instead of 4 steaks so that you could buy it. Now you could divvy it up into 10 pieces for your family. So the previous was strip loin. These are top sirloin. So strip loins are a little bit more expensive, but not by much. This is in Florida right now, $15.68 for a pack of top sirloin. Looks like one massive piece or two pieces in there, but this is just for reference. In the US, the price of beef is nothing compared to the price of beef in Canada right now. Then we have this. Okay, $400 for this. This is 20 pounds of beef. So it's not the price that stands out to me on this one. It says below halal meat. Let's get into this halal meat. It's labeled. And what is halal meat? Halal meat adheres to Islamic dietary laws, primarily revolving around the method of processing the animals. Key aspects include it needs to be done using a sharp, pointy thing, reciting a prayer, and ensuring that the animal is healthy and drained properly. I have absolutely no issue with labeling. Labeling halal meat is perfectly fine, but I wanted to show they're actually labeling that it's halal meat. Well, here we have no labeling. And this is Brian Lilly here. He says, I'm against genetically modified meat, fish, poultry, etc. But if you're going to go ahead and approve the sale of it for human consumption, then at least make it mandatory and clear labeling. We're going to look at this article now. Gene-edited bacon you never asked for. The FDA in April approved commercially distributed pigs that are genetically edited with CRISPR. Why are they doing this? It's because there's widespread disease in the pork industry. And CRISPR is a powerful gene editing tool that scientists use to alter DNA at a high precision. The goal here is to increase production, reduce losses, and stabilize the food supply chain. We've also approved this in Canada, meaning Canada is importing, and last year we imported $850 million worth of pork last year alone from the US. And all of this pork that's been gene edited is coming to Canada. This whole thing starts on January 1st of 2026. So within 7 months, we're going to have genetically modified pork, and it's going to be the whole food supply is going to get genetically modified at some point, I'm sure. But we're going to start eating this stuff, and there will be zero labels. There's no labeling. You're going to label the other meat the halal meat, but you're not going to be labeling for genetically modified meat. Can you at least tell us what we're eating? See, this is the problem that I have. You're doing one thing over here, and then you're doing this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are you okay with eating genetically modified meat? But wouldn't you like to know and put a label on it saying this meat has been genetically modified DNA? I don't know about you, but I think that we should set a standard here. Greater Toronto real estate prices just saw the floor give out underneath them after months of stagnation. Prices have been going down since the peak February 2022, 1.3, almost 1.3, and now we're below $1 million. We actually broke for the first time below $1 million in 4 years. There's a psychological component. Once you break below $1 million, something inside you goes, timber. And if we look at the other peak back in March of 2017, the prices were $841. We are $100,000 away from going all the way back to 2017. And how are sales doing? Greater Toronto real estate sales slipped to the lowest level in 25 years. We're at a 25-year low in sales right now. And Greater Toronto inventory levels hits a record high. Check this out. We have never seen inventory this high. 31.8 thousand. 31,800 listings. If we go all the way back to 1995, it was below 30,000. And that was the last time it peaked out. We're way above this. That's why I say we have yet to see a turnaround here. Sales are at record low, inventories at record high, and prices are coming down. Canada's push to be 100% EV sales within 10 years is about to collapse. Let's take a look.
David.
Well, Donna, Canada's automakers have a lot on their plate these days. And of course, it's not just the U.S. president's tariffs. It's also Ottawa's insistence that all new cars and light trucks sold in Canada have to be emission-free within the decade. The federal electric vehicle, or EV mandate, sets sales targets for zero-emission vehicles that apply to all automakers and importers. The overall goal is that 100% of new cars and light trucks sold in 2035 will be zero-emission vehicles. Now, to get there, Ottawa has prescribed some interim targets. By 2030, for example, that number has to hit 60%. But CEOs of 3 automakers that met with Prime Minister Mark Carney Wednesday told him that meeting those targets and the fines they'll pay for failing to hit those targets will kill the Canadian auto industry.
The EV mandate itself is not sustainable. The targets that have been established cannot be met.
As for the Carney government, neither the PM nor his ministers were taking questions on the topic Wednesday, but the government wants to press ahead nonetheless with EV adoption and is looking at some options, including continuing with a consumer rebate program. That rebate program is officially paused right now. And without those rebates, sales of EVs, which are more expensive than gas-powered cars, are slowing. The latest StatsCan data from March showed that EV car sales dropped 44% compared to the same month a year ago, although sales of EV pickup trucks continued to grow. Overall sales of EV trucks and cars now make up just 6.5% of all new vehicle sales. The EV mandate target for next year is more than double that, 20%. Donna.
Okay.
I've done some math so that I could explain to everybody out there how absurd this EV thing actually is. So even if Canada converted every single car, truck to EV, after life cycle emissions, we'd cut transportation emissions by 30%. But get this, transportation only represents 21% of Canada's total emissions. Global impact is a pathetic 0.094 reduction. So we're wrecking our auto sector and our power grid for sure to shave off 0.1% of global CO2. This is absurd, Canada. We can't continue to go down this road. In my last show, whoever watched it, go ahead and watch it. The EU walked away from the green agenda. 90% of their heavy industry is now exempt from carbon taxes. But Canada's response, we just got a response today. Canada, we don't care what other countries do. We're going to lead by example. Translation, you go starving? Good. Your wallet empty? Even better. Just in order to make, I don't know what we're doing, but let's take a look at our energy minister today.
In a time of challenging global dynamics, our country is choosing to rise to the challenge. We are choosing to strengthen our economic sovereignty, assert our strategic independence, and build a future based on our values and ambitions. The time for following others is over. If other countries choose not to lead, Canada will. It's up to us to set the pace, to deal the cards, and pave the way for the solutions and innovations that will power our future. Whether in conventional and clean energy infrastructure, new technologies, or critical minerals, Canada is asserting its position in the world as a nation capable of stepping up to the challenge, taking responsibility to be masters of our own home, creating wealth for families from coast to coast to coast, supporting our allies' energy security and fighting climate change, and trading according to our own interests, not just based on who are our closest customers. We are moving rapidly to secure our rightful place as a conventional and clean energy superpower. Every barrel of responsibly produced Canadian oil and every ton of clean Canadian LNG can displace less clean, riskier energy elsewhere in the world. Our exports can help our allies break dependence on a...
All right, Canada, we're in big trouble in this country. They're continuing down this reckless path. We can't afford any of it. Plus, we pay absurd amount of taxes. This is not going to end well for us. And this next news is going to absolutely blow your mind.
New federal immigration numbers confirmed to CTV News show the surprising number of people entering Canada with prior criminal records. Canada approved more than 17,000 applications between 2014 and 2024, or about 70% of the requests that were made. Immigration Canada saying, quote, people with past convictions outside Canada must demonstrate they have been rehabilitated and do not pose a risk. Adding the policy has helped reunite families and allowed performers and athletes to enter Canada despite having criminal records.
Did you get all of that, Canada? And the approval rate is 70%. I don't know why it's only 70. I'm surprised it's not 100%. We just got some new data today. Canada's manufacturers suffer the largest drop in output since the pandemic as tariffs roll the sector. This is 5 consecutive months of decline. And I'm sure nobody's surprised. We just got a update. First reading, EU is exempting heavy industry from carbon taxes as Canada doubles down. They came out today and said, we liberals are still pursuing industrial carbon taxes. Enjoy, Canada. And I'm honestly surprised that there was no elbows up gathering as they raised the American flag in Ottawa City Hall today. And we just found out that $300 million was spent by the federal government for programs that failed to produce new jobs or lower those things. We are just wasting money in Canada and getting zero results. You know, just before Independence Day, we get a bunch of these articles that says there's a fear of coming to America. BC, Washington state travel over the last 5 months in a row are down. They're down like 50%. And here's another article from the National Post. Overall, a majority of Canadians feel unwelcome in the United States. Well, I saw these polls and I said, you know what? Let's actually ask Canadians what they feel. And the poll goes as here. As a Canadian, do you feel unwelcome in the United States? Please take the poll. And near 9,150 people responded, and 95% says they feel welcome in the United States. So who are they polling? Who are they asking? I just don't know. Are they polling CBC like within the branches or something? And I like this comment right here. Kathy, the problem is coming back. And my last 2 stories are independence for Alberta. We just got some breaking news today that in Edmonton, Mitch, Dennis, and Jeff just filed the constitutional independence referendum petition question at the Elections Alberta. So it's officially started, Canada. And Danielle Smith published this video this morning, and I have to say, it's bang on. It's tapping the right chords. This is what Canada needs.
Curtains on how our province can better protect ourselves from Ottawa's economic attacks, while building a more prosperous, strong, and sovereign Alberta within Canada. A provincial referendum on some of these ideas is coming in 2026. But what's on that referendum ballot and what happens next for Alberta is up to you. One idea being discussed by the panel is reforming federal equalization and transfers. Since 2005, Alberta taxpayers have contributed, on average, $23 billion more per year to the federal government in federal taxes than they received back in projects, benefits, and other spending from Ottawa. That's a net loss to Albertans of nearly $500 billion in just 20 years. Most of those redistributed Alberta tax dollars are spent by Ottawa and Quebec and other liberal-leaning provinces across the country. And part of that massive fiscal transfer out of Alberta comes through the Federal Equalization Program, which has seen Alberta pay over $67 billion into the program since 1957, while receiving back not a single penny since 1965. In 2021, Albertans voted in a referendum to remove equalization from the Constitution, but Ottawa completely ignored us. So what next? Alberta can't stop these federal transfers on its own. The Alberta government doesn't write a check to Ottawa each year, and we can't ask Albertans to stop paying their federal taxes. The fact is, fixing this problem will require political support from other provinces. One option that would be appealing to most other provinces is to have the provinces collect a larger share of overall taxes. This is how it could work. Currently, Ottawa collects over 60% of all the federal and provincial taxes that Canadians pay. The Ottawa bureaucracy takes its portion, with the remainder inefficiently and unequally distributed to the provinces. The dollars we do get back have a lot of strings attached, forcing us to run our provincial programs and build infrastructure the way Ottawa wants us to. No provinces want that, especially the big ones like Quebec, Ontario, BC, and Alberta. What if we cut out the middleman and instead had provincial governments that are responsible for delivering health, education, and social services collect around 60% of all taxes, with Ottawa receiving the rest? Ottawa, in turn, would be able to end most transfer programs to the provinces, along with all the strings, bureaucracy, and waste attached to them. Quebec has already proposed having the federal government let provinces keep GST revenue generated in their provinces in return for ending the federal health transfer. Seems like a great idea. Why not apply that same logic to all federal transfers? Less money collected and wasted in Ottawa. Less federal transfers with only a modest amount of equalization for the smallest provinces and territories that actually need it. And more funds for provincial health, education, and other programs, without strings attached by Ottawa's politicians and bureaucrats. That seems like something most provinces could rally behind. So what say you, Alberta? Should Alberta take a lead role in working with the other provinces to reform federal transfers and equalization by having the provinces collect a larger share of overall taxes, with Ottawa collecting less? And are there any other strategies Alberta should be looking at to alleviate the massive federal...
All right, I have to stop it right there. This makes perfect sense. But Ottawa, do you think Ottawa will lower the amount of money that they're collecting from Canadians? Do you think they're going to buy into this and have to reduce costs in Ottawa because they're not collecting all of these billions upon billions of dollars? It makes perfect sense, but Ottawa's going to say no to all of this. Let's be real right now. But that's where Alberta Independence comes in, because if Ottawa doesn't want to play game, these are good ideas, then the citizens of the country should be able to decide, we don't want this. Okay, Ottawa works for us, but they often forget that, don't they? That's it for today's report. That was a lot of fun. I want to wish all of you out there that are celebrating 4th of July, my American friends, and all the Canadians that are also celebrating 4th of July. Have a wonderful experience and day. Stay safe because those fireworks are absolutely nuts. I will see you on the next report.